Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. In today's Tuesday tips video, I am going to be sharing with you my top 3 tips for a successful homeschool. Luckily, this Tuesday tips video actually happens to fall on a homeschool show and tell day. So this is the continued collaboration with Abby over at Rooted in Rest and Jessica from the Waldock Way. So of course I will have their links to their channels down in the description, as well as the playlist of all of the other mamas who are sharing their tips. So I am quite sure you will be able to go through that playlist and find some really helpful information. For me today, I'm hoping to share some different things with you. Now, I only get 3, which is okay, but I'm hoping that maybe these will be a little bit different than some of the other tips, but I don't know. I've not been homeschooling very long. If you guys have been around, you know that we're roughly a year and a half in. So these are things that I have kind of learned just since I've been homeschooling, but there's sort of recurring themes as well that I see because I also watch YouTube moms, and that's where I learn a lot of things and get a lot of resources and stuff like that too. So yeah, these are just the 3 that I think will help you and that I think are really great ways to ensure that your homeschool is successful. So tip number 1 is just to be flexible. And sometimes that's hard because we have a tendency to have a thought, an idea, a plan, a general movement or direction that we want to go in, and that doesn't always line up with our children. Imagine that. And so I think one of the best ways to ensure that your homeschool is successful is just to be flexible. I think that we definitely can have a plan, can have a flow, but we should allow room for change because really that's one of the main benefits of homeschooling is that we are able to make those changes and we're able to kind of maneuver with our children and meet them where they are and meet them, kind of accommodate to their needs. And so I think we need to be sure that we are allowing space for that. That way we're able to really give our children what they need when it comes to education, whether it be in the books or education when it comes to character building or whatever it is that we really need to be focusing in on for that particular season of life. Moving on to tip number 2 is to work within your budget. Now, this may not apply to everyone, but I would venture to say most of us probably have some sort of budget that we need to work within. For some, it may be a monthly budget. For some, it may be a yearly budget. I think the main point here is figure out what that looks like for you and for your family, what is reasonable as far as, is it better to set up something monthly? Is it better to do by semester? Is it better to do for the whole year? Whatever that looks like for your family, set that up, be aware of it, and stick to it. We're at a time with social media and YouTube, and we are a lot more connected, which I love, but also we get influenced, right? And you see something shiny and sparkly and pretty and new, and yeah, that could be a really great fit. But if you're not really at a place where that fits into your budget, or we're not really sure if that's gonna work, but it just looks really good, so we just wanna buy it, that can cause some stress. and really kind of unnecessary stress. So, I just feel that sticking to a budget can really set you up for success because you're staying at a place that is agreed upon and it's comfortable, and it kind of steers you away from that being roped into the new shiny things. There's plenty of free resources that you could use as kind of fillers, going to the library, things like that. We have a lot of resources at our hands that we can use to get maybe some of those new shiny things, but without tapping into the bank account. And my number 3 top tip is probably the most important, and if I had to guess, probably will be mentioned in several of these videos. My top tip is to remember why you started homeschooling. And some people take this as far as writing it down every year or writing down kind of a mission statement. And sometimes that changes through the year, or it changes every year. Sometimes it's just a mission statement, for your family overall. That is totally up to you. Again, kind of like the budget deal, you can make it work for your family and whatever that looks like. But the main point is to remember why you started homeschooling. I can guarantee you it wasn't because you really wanted your kid to get through this level of this curriculum by this age. I can almost guarantee that was not the reason for starting homeschooling. Is that maybe a goal that you would want to reach? Sure, but that's not why. You started homeschooling because you wanted to have a better relationship with your kids. You wanted your kids to have better relationships with their siblings. You wanted to be in control of their education in some aspect. You wanted to allow for critical thinking and hands-on skills, or whatever the case may be. Those are the things that we need to remember when we get into those places that feel like we're just stuck in a rut, or our kids they're working against us a little bit because they're in a season that this thing really isn't working for them, or it's challenging them. Whatever is happening, I think it's so important that we go back and remember why we started. For me personally, all of those things are important, the relationships and the life skills and the character building and all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, I am raising up a child who I want to be kingdom minded. I want her to do what God has called her when He calls her. So yes, she needs to know how to do laundry. Yes, she needs to know how to respect people. And yes, she needs to know how to add and how to read and all of those things. But really the main goal is to get her to heaven. And so putting that into perspective really makes today not writing an A for the 3rd time really kind of unimportant. I probably could come up with a handful of other tips, maybe even some resources, but it was only 3, my top 3. So these are my top 3 tips. Don't forget to go down into the playlist below. We are able to share tips and or resources. So there could be, if someone has like a planner or I don't know, whatever they come up with, those would be good things maybe for you to consider. So be sure that you check out the playlist below. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon.